Hey Metal Maniacs, this is Rick Bouwman from Martyr, and you are cranking it up on Dave Softee's Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio.
Here we go, Metal Maniacs. Please help me welcome to Metal Messiah Radio, hailing from the Netherlands. 40-year legendary Dutch masters from heavy power speed metal band Martyr, here to talk about their upcoming release, Planet Metalhead, due out on the 24th of February, 2022, of course, through PT78 Records in collaboration with Wayland Management. I'm proud to welcome two Ricks. We have Rick Bouwman on guitars, one of the founding members, and we have producer and drummer Rick Valcon. Happy New Year, gentlemen, and welcome to the Metal Meltdown.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too, and all the listeners, of course.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And like I said, welcome to the Metal Meltdown. Thank you for this opportunity. I'd just like to know how you're doing out there, and how has your experience been in dealing with this COVID pandemic that seems to be never ending?
Yeah, it's difficult. It was a difficult time, but here in the Netherlands, we seem to get slowly out of the lockdown. I think, Rick Valcon, it was our third lockdown maybe that we already had last winter, or this winter, I think.
Yeah, I believe the third one, yeah.
Yeah, but we're getting now slowly out of it. The bars are open again since last Wednesday, I believe.
Till 10 p.m.
Till 10 p.m, so there are still a lot of restrictions here. Unfortunately, nightlife is still closed, which also means that events and concerts are still very difficult to organize, and there are hardly any shows done unless seated and on 1/3 of the capacity in the venue. So it's still very difficult, but I hope that we're getting there soon now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been difficult almost 2 years, but fortunately with Martyr, we managed to record this album, Planet Metalhead, mixed and mastered it by Mr. Rick Valcon, and we are ready to release it and publish it and give the world a chance to listen to it.
That's the upside of having the COVID. You were able to put out a really great offering, but it's been brutal on musicians as far as being able to perform your music. You haven't been able to do that, so I really feel bad for all the musicians out there, including yourself. Would you be kind enough to inform the listeners on who makes up the current lineup of Martyr?
Yes, that's me. I'm Rick Bouwman. I'm the guitar player. We have Rob van Haren on the vocals, also an original member of the band since 1982. Then we have Rick Valcon on the drums, Vinnie Wassink on the bass guitar, and the other guitar player, Geoffrey Maas.
Thank you very much. I have checked out your upcoming CD, Planet Metalhead. It's an outstanding metal offering, excellent musicianship, soaring vocals. About these songs, how do your tunes all come together as far as who writes the melodies, who writes the music, and who writes the lyrics? Do you have a certain process that you do in creating your music?
Yes, we have a process how we write our music. Since I think now 10 years, we mostly write all the stuff at home. That is that we write a global idea on the guitar and on the vocal lines, no lyrics yet, and record it at home as a sort of demo tape, and then bring it to the other musicians in the band. Like we transferred it to Rick Valcon, we transferred it to Geoffrey on the guitars, and we transferred it to the bass player. But first to Rick Valcon to record his drums, then send it back to us. That's how we did it for this Planet Metalhead album. And then because of the drumming of Rick, we got more new ideas, because the drums were quite spectacular, as you can hear on the album, which brought us more ideas and leveled up the songs even. So every song, maybe Rick you can add that one, but every song we finished from beginning till the end before we continued with the next one for this album.
Yeah, we did every song separately from start to finish. So there was still a bit of writing progress going on while already the drums were recorded. Due to COVID, we couldn't come together. So when the album was finished, we came together after the lockdown was lifted a little bit. That was the first time that we actually in rehearsal played the songs for the first time together.
Together, yeah.
That is interesting.
So, yeah.
And what studio was this recorded in? And Rick Valcon, the drummer here, he's also the producer. What led to you being the producer, and you're responsible for all the mixing and the mastering, producing, and everything? Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I record. I've been recording for like 15 years now. I do other bands also, and it was just it was the most convenient thing with the lockdown and everything, and we could keep everything in house, and we had all the time. And normally, I'm always a person if a band wants to record with me, I won't charge by the hour. I will charge by the song. So nobody has to feel rushed and anything, and we use that concept also in this album.
Okay, so that's a good policy, actually.
Yeah, I believe so, because not dissing bands or anything or productions, but you can hear on a production if the budget wasn't that high, and I don't mean that that's a bad recording or anything, but you can hear that everything is like how you say, production work, like everything has to be done in, I see, 6-7 days, so everything has exactly the same sound and everything is mixed from top down.
So you're saying, like, if it's rushed, it has definitely a different sound than if you take more time to add to the production, it could come out in a better sound.
Yeah, I believe so, and one. I will not compare us to them, but for an example, if you get an old Queen record and you listen to all the individual songs on there, every song has its totally own drum sound and its own composition and everything, and that keeps a whole album interesting.
It's true. I got what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then we had of course the luxury of being able with our home studios to record everything at home.
Yeah.
Rick recorded his drums in Café de Meister near his hometown, and had all the possibilities to record it there. And the vocals were recorded in our rehearsal studio. But because we had all the time on our hands, so every detail that Rick, for example, gave feedback to us, like, this is not really tight enough or good enough, can you do it again? It was possible to do it again because we were in a home studio, we had no shows, we had all the time on our hands, and in this case, time didn't mean money like you normally have when you book a studio. Exactly. So that was no issue to record things over again when Rick, with acting like as a producer, not as a drummer at that part, as a producer of the album at that part, said, "This, you can do this better."
It's quite amazing what you could do this day and age, and how you can make it sound like it was all put together with everyone together, not done the way you did it, everybody doing it themselves, and then like a puzzle, putting it all together. It doesn't sound that way at all. It sounds very clean, like you really were in the same studio with everyone at the same time.
Yeah, and I think also what's a big factor in this is I've played in pretty much not a lot of bands, but some bands. But this is the first band where all the band members are all with their noses pointing in the same direction, 100%, And you can hear that. That made the mixing, the mastering, and everything so much easier. And everybody had the same plan, and everybody had the same vision. And I think that is also what makes a big difference to get it one cohesive whole, the album, one cohesive album.
That makes a lot of sense. And how long have you been working with Wayland Management, and how has this collaboration been working out for the band?
We started with Wayland Management when we had our previous studio release, You Are Next. I think that was 2016, so it's now 5 years with Wayland Management. And in fact, the guys in Wayland Management are also our friends, and one of the guys in Wayland Management, Harm, is also our label manager. So it's almost like a family. So we have really close connection. We discuss everything really quickly when something is wrong, or questions are asked, or ideas are shared, or whatever. So yeah, well, and they help us with especially promotion, but also with all the administrative things that go with, for example, shows, or financial things that come along with production or album releases or those kind of things. So yeah, well, it's a good cooperation.
Congratulations, that's very important, and I'm glad that that's working out for you.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the imagery of Planet Metalhead. The cover art I find very interesting, and like in the essence of a strong power metal album cover. Could you tell us more about the CD art and who designed it? And could you give us some history about the band logo? Who created the band's logo?
Well, the band logo we already have for almost 40 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, and except when we started the band and we did some demo recordings, then you will find on the first two demos until 1983, 1984, maybe a different logo. Before the first release, even for the Universe, it was already this logo that we still use now, because I think it's a known logo, and you need to be consistent with using, I think, in my opinion, the same logo every time, so people will recognize it. It was
Exactly.
designed by a guitar player in the Netherlands from quite a well-known Dutch band, De Dijk. They sing in the traditional Dutch language, and so you probably won't have heard about them, but
No, sorry.
they
Yeah.
still exist, even also like over 40 years. So that's nice. And for the artwork of the album, it was done by Wasi Candedes. And we gave him this project and asked him to make a real heavy metal artwork. We already had the idea of having the same girl that you see on the front cover is the girl that's also on the UNX 2016 album, sort of. So that's sort of connection between the previous album and this album. And the album is called Planet Metalhead because we think it's a real heavy metal album. When you pick it up, you look at the artwork and you look at the title of the album and you look at the titles of the songs, you cannot be mistaken when you pick it up that this is a pure kick-ass heavy metal album.
Well said. Well said. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was the idea. And the artwork, there are also a little ideas in it from the song titles, like we have a song called La Diabla, that's a she-devil. Well, the girl is a sort of a she-devil. You have Demon Hammer. When you look at the artwork, you see a fire, but you see a demon in it. If you look correctly, Planet Metalhead, you see space, of course. You see thunder and lightning. That's also in one of the songs. So there are some ideas from the songs that are also visible on the front cover artwork as well. But that's also nice for the listeners to discover.
It's true. And as I said, your vocalist is singing really strong. You wouldn't believe that he's been doing this with you for 40 years. These soaring vocals is very impressive. And let's talk about some shows you guys notice you have coming up in March, and it's hopefully you'll be able to do these shows because you have your CD release party on March 12th. And would you like to talk about these shows? I believe it's a 40th anniversary and the CD party all wrapped up in one.
Yes, it's a combination of the 40 years anniversary and the release party for Planet Metalhead. It's here in our hometown, at least, where Martyr was born, in the middle of the Netherlands, Utrecht. We hope, we have our fingers crossed, of course, that the lockdown, that everything will open up and that the lockdown will end and that we can continue with the show. But the difficulty is that, well, we're still in, let's say, half a lockdown. It's quite difficult to prepare everything. So
Right.
that's still exciting, and yeah, we hope that we can continue with it. It will be a show with new visuals. We will play a lot of songs from the Planet Metalhead album, and we will focus on the album during the live show, but we still also will play some golden oldies from Martyr as well, of course. And people are coming, if all goes well, from France, Belgium, Germany, Netherlands, even Switzerland. I heard they already bought tickets, so fingers crossed that we can continue with that one. And after the release show, we are going on the road to do club shows, festivals in the summer, etc., etc. Shows are being booked right now, so I think there are some very interesting festivals and shows coming up for us this year.
That's excellent, and yeah, I see you have shows. You have the October Metal Fest in March 19th. You have shows April. You have it on the 2nd, on the 15th, and I see you have shows already booked for September. I believe most likely you won't have any lockdowns coming the late spring and summertime, because that's when, from what I understand, COVID is based on the cold weather, that it affects this, and it's always changing. And now there's this new variant. They're taking the Omicron and calling it the stealth Omicron. It's like whatever. Hopefully this thing will go away at some point. I mean, first of all, 40 years. Isn't it amazing how fast time flies by? And you never in your wildest dreams ever thought something like this would be happening to us today, right?
No, this wasn't really what we expected. This pandemic. The strange thing is that just before the pandemic, we even flew to Japan. I think maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, Rick, Valcon, before it hit the Netherlands, right?
We saw it actually happen on the airport, right? Because there was normally there was some festive holiday from Chinese side, and normally that whole airport would be packed with people, and there was almost nobody there when we got off the plane in Japan.
Yeah, that's really sad.
We did the gigs, and when we flew back, I of course got some friends from Japan on Facebook, and there were some articles that the same evening that we played in the last venue, that in another venue in Osaka, the first person who was infected was found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were just in front of it. In the Netherlands, there was nothing yet, and yeah, really weird.
It's very sad. And from talking with other bands about these being able to actually perform, some people, some bands are performing out there, but they're performing to, like you said, 1/3 capacity. Not even that. I mean, they're used to, let's say, performing to 2,000 people, but they have to, if they want to performing to 50 people.
Yeah, that's happening. You know, that happened over here as well, and it was also seated events. And that's something that we don't like to do, because Martyr is a real live band, and we have a real energetic live show. Rob, the singer, he jumps into the audience, he pulls the audience up on the stage, and you know, we can't do our show properly when the audience is only sitting in the venue and with 1/3 or maybe even less capacity, not being able to grab a drink or something. That's not the party that we want when we do a live show.
I'm
Exactly.
I'm also a live engineer in some venues, and we did some shows, but it was mostly like seated, and then the persons that would play, that were just singer-songwriters with an acoustic guitar and stuff like that, but no real bands, you know.
Right. Now, I've heard of some bands doing this like live streaming, where they're not actually going out to do live performances, but they're getting together, let's say, in their studio, and they're streaming it live to their fans. So it's like you get to see the band perform, but through the videos, through a live video, through the internet. Is that something that you would consider doing if you cannot perform?
We didn't do that. We did a live stream where we did perform. We recorded it for the Dynamo Metal Fest, which is a really great festival normally every year. We did a live show which was recorded at the FNI in Eindhoven, and it was broadcasted at the ice stadium where normally the festival takes place every summer. And there were allowed, I think, 250 people. It was open air, so 250 people max, and on a really big screen they could look at our live performance that we recorded a few days earlier at the FNI.
Yep.
The funny thing is, Dave, we could reuse that with permission from Loud Noise Productions and Dynamo. We could reuse that live recording, that recording of a live show, also for South America live streams, for example. So that was an advantage for us to also explore other countries during the pandemic, and make more interest for Martyr, make Martyr more well known in those countries, although we already have a cult status in South America, for example. But doing live streams like this one and exploring more territories in South America is paving also the way for this new album as well. So that's what we also did during the pandemic, exploring new territories.
Well, that's great that you did that. And also, let's talk about videos, because I find that that's a very important vehicle for bands to let the fans know that they're still around. Like, let's say Martyr fans, here's our videos. We are not able to perform right now, but here's the videos to promote our new album. And so let's spread the word on these videos, which you had mentioned to me earlier. I appreciate that. And that would be The Fire of Rebellions, No Time for Goodbyes, and Raise Your Horns Unite. 3 official videos to accompany Planet Metalhead. Please inform the fans on the making of these videos, as far as where were these created, who was responsible for the filming, the editing, and directing of these videos.
Well, should I start?
Yes, please.
No Time for Goodbyes is filmed and edited by me.
Nice.
Because we were in the height of the pandemic, and it was that bad that we weren't even allowed with 3 people in the same room. So
wow.
The room where I filmed it was the rehearsal room, and I used some daylight lights that are very bright, which gives everything a little bit of dark appearance, and I shot it in black and white. And every band member came on appointment on the same day with 1 hour or 1.5 hours between. So I shot them all individually, and then I edited everything together.
Wow.
The trick by No Time for Goodbyes is that we recorded the video at 1.5 speed. So I made the song speed up to 1.5 speed, and then I slowed the video down, and you see like the whole clip has a slow motion feel, but it's in sync with the song, you know? That's how we did.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting.
That was, I only did the first. And now Rick can tell for the next one.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're right, Dave, that we, during the pandemic, we thought it was very interesting to also release some videos and release some new music and to keep the interest of the fans into Martyr. Fire of Rebellions was the second single we released. I think it was June 2020 or something.
I believe so,
Yeah. And we shot that with some friends in Hilversum, which is not so far away from where I live, in an old fabric and
old abandoned factory.
Yeah, abandoned factory. Yeah. So for Private Rebellions, that is a funny thing maybe to mention as well. 100 Martyr fans recorded a video of themselves, and we're shouting the word war, which is also included in the recording, and which is also included in the video that you can find on YouTube. And the last single that we released was Raise Your Horns Unite, and for Raise Your Horns Unite we asked a guy from Sweden, a filmmaker, to make a lyric video for us. And I think it's quite a good lyric video that was released a couple of months later than Fire of Rebellions.
Well, I thank you very much for giving us detail behind these videos, and I'd like to know, is there any plans to make any future music or lyrical videos for Planet Metalhead, or do you think that you're done with that?
Regarding the videos, we were working already on a new video, but we decided to wait just a little bit more to think about it after the release on February 24th. Because what we would like to find out is what will be the favorite song of the audience and make a video for that one. So besides that, to be honest, we are very busy right now rehearsing songs and doing interviews and a lot of promotion for the new album as well. So I think it will give us a little more time to record a real proper good video after the release and know which song we will going to release as a next single and the next video.
That makes perfect sense, actually. And let's talk about merch. Let's let the fans know how they could support Martyr by getting the CD and whatever other merch you may have available that they could support Martyr. I'm going to give some links, and then I'm going to ask you what merch you may have available. Let's start with your official homepage. That's martyronline.nl.
Yeah.
Then you have, of course, your Facebook. That's Martyr Online. And then you have also there's an Instagram, Martyr Online. And then I noticed there's the Martyr Shop. It's bit.ly/Martyr Shop.
Yeah.
And then your labels also. I see you have the PT78 Records. It's on Facebook. I got the facebook.com/PT78 Records and Rockstack Records. That's rockstack.shop-pro.jp. And that's Rockstack, ROCKSTAKK. And then you have your management as well. Wayland Management, facebook.com, Wayland Management. What would you say would be the best place for a fan to check out what merch you have available and get either the digital downloads or the actual CD? I guess I would imagine would be martyronline.nl, but what would you say would be the best place?
Yeah, I think we also have Bandcamp, so people can also find us on Bandcamp, which is quite accessible worldwide also to order Martyr merchandise. But I think martyronline.nl, when you go to the shop, you will go to the same shop as you would go from PT78 Records or Wayland Management, etc. So martyronline.nl and then go to the shop. You will find all kinds of merchandise on Bandcamp, of course. And you also mentioned the Martyr shop, but that's what we did, Dave, was because we know it's quite expensive to ship merch to countries like the US or South America or Japan or whatever. So what we also did was to make a shop which is sort of print on demand, if I can mention it like that way. So you order it and it will be printed like t-shirts or caps or those kind of things in your country. So the shipping costs will be very low.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, that's interesting for t-shirts or caps or wristbands, you know, those kind of things.
Right.
Next thing which is interesting to mention as well is that for the vinyl or the CD, we have multiple license deals in different countries all over the world. So we have South America, a license deal with Classic Metal Records, which means that in South America, Planet Metalhead is also local available. In the US, we have Animated Insanity Records. In North America, in Japan, we have Rockstack, which you already mentioned. In China, we have Toxic Death Records. We have PT78 Records, which is also shipping worldwide, of course. And we have another deal with No Dust Records here in the Netherlands. and they are releasing a fan package, a limited fan package with splatter vinyl, 3D artwork, slip mat, stickers, all kinds of things in a very special release, limited edition for the die-hard Martyr fans.
Wow, you've worked very hard to make this available to your fans around the world, to save them money in the shipping and all that. That's outstanding.
Yeah, we think that's very important that fans can have easy access to our music, and we think our music is worth it to be heard by as many Martyr fans as possible all over the world.
Yeah, I'm sure that the die-hard Martyr fans really appreciate what you're doing there.
Yes, I hope so, and I hope they will enjoy it very much.
And
no doubt about that. No doubt about that.
Fun thing is also that all the versions that come out in South America, Japan, they are all a little bit different. They have a different booklet and a different cover. So there are crazy fans from us. They're already thinking about collecting them all, you know.
I was just gonna say, I was just gonna say, for the die-hard fans, they probably will collect them all. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
We saw that also with the Live in Japan record, right? That there were people that had the vinyl, that had the demo version of the not for distribution version, the Japanese version, the yellow OB, the red OB. There were people that had like 5 or 6 versions of the album.
Of the same album, yeah.
Yeah.
Only thing was the Japanese version had bonus tracks. That was the only difference. But the rest was all the same music. But the layout of the artwork was a little bit different. But then, yeah, the die-hard fans want to have it all.
Yeah, the vinyl and the Japanese, right?
Yeah, vinyl and the Japanese, yeah.
Was a Japanese version of Speed of Samurai on it. So Rob had to sing that. Yeah, very cool.
Wow, that's why they call them fanatics, because
Sung in
crazy.
Japanese, huh?
Rob sang it in Japanese, yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Does he know Japanese, or did he have to read it transliterated?
We had Mikitoshi Matsuo from Rockstack Records translating the lyrics from English to Japanese. And then he also recorded it for us. So I hope that I pronounced it right. So phonetic. We could copy it. And we sent it back to Mickey, and he said, this is good, this is not good, do that again, do that word again, or that sentence again. And we recorded it a couple of times till Mickey said, now it's real Japanese.
Wow, that's an interesting story. I never would have expected that. Thank you.
It was released on the Japanese version of Live in Japan. But the thing is, when we returned to Japan, at the show right before the pandemic started, like Rick Valcon already mentioned, the Japanese fans asked us, are you going to do it, Speed of Samurai, in the Japanese version, Japanese vocals? No. Sorry.
Wow.
That is too different for us.
Wow, I really appreciate that story. That's amazing. And gentlemen, do you like to talk about your gear? Are you gearheads? Do you like talking about your guitars, your drums, or is that something you would like to talk about?
I'm a bit of a gearhead.
Rick is a gearhead, Rick Falcon.
All right.
My setup is old school, and with some parts really old school. My drum kit is a black 1978. No, other way around. A black 1987 Yamaha recording custom drum kit. That's the same kit that Queen had then at the tour, and the drummer from Whitesnake, that white kit. It's the flagship of the Yamahas, and it's one of the most recorded drum kits of all time. And
Very
I bought
nice.
that. Yeah, and I tried other drum kits, other brands, and nothing came close to it. My cymbals are a combination of 70s and 60s Zildjians. And
Wow. Classic.
Yeah. Bit of luck. Found some. I have one 18-inch crash that has actually, it's Zildjian, and it has the Trixon drum kit logo. The Trixons that are the drum kits that have the melted, they look like they're molten, you know?
Wow.
The 60s. And it has a stamp in it, so some stuff I spray is really rare.
Are you a fan of the older cymbals? Do they have a better sound than, let's say, a newer cymbal?
Yes and no. If you asked me this question 10 years ago, I would have said yes. But nowadays I have a brand from Bouwman that are really inexpensive, and I can hang them between my Zildjians and you wouldn't hear the difference. It's really
Okay.
weird.
I appreciate that. Thank you for that information.
Yeah, I'd like to mention that for the guitars we now use blue guitar amplifiers, which are on our pedal boards, which are really small, but really kick ass and have a really heavy sound, and which makes our live shows much more easy because you can carry them. They are very light and small, so it's very easy to carry and to transport between the shows, etc. And even to take with you in the plane. When we did the Japan shows, for example, we took our own amps with us, just in my backpack, in the plane, and I had my own sound in Japan. So that's what Geoffrey and I also use nowadays, the Blue Guitar Iridium amp.
Yep.
Very nice. Thank you for informing the listeners about this. And would you like to say anything to your fans that are tuning in right now? Anything to the Martyr fans?
Yeah, of course. I think it's always remarkable. I say that every time that I do an interview, that the fans from the beginning, from the early 80s, are still there, and we see them at our shows. But we also see the youngsters at our shows, and sometimes they never heard of Martyr before, but they discover us when we play live, check out all the old stuff, the new stuff, and become a fan immediately. So I always find that very remarkable, but I'm very thankful for all the continuous support from everybody during those 40 years of Martyr.
Excellent. And Rick Valcon, would you like to say anything to the fans?
Keep on rocking. And let's
Okay.
hope this COVID ends soon.
Let's hope so.
And
To Planet Metalhead.
we do it for the fans. We really do. And come see us live. If you think the album is heavy, come see us live. Because Martyr is a live band.
Yeah, let's hope that all these shows come through for you and they can actually get out there to see you. And I want to thank you, gentlemen, for spending time with us tonight on Metal Meltdown. This is my first time getting with you. I know over the years I've noticed that Martyr has been with interviews on Metal Messiah Radio, so I'm really happy that I finally got this opportunity to get with you and to talk about your music and your upcoming release, Planet Metalhead. I just want to make sure that if there's anything else that you want to talk about, that you have every opportunity to talk about it before we go crank up some more music off of Planet Metalhead. So if there is anything else that you would like to bring up, please feel free.
Yeah. Maybe nice to mention is the broadcast of the show is February 10th, but 2 days after your broadcast, we have another pre-listen session for the Martyr Militia fan club. We have a fan club on Facebook. It's called Martyr Militia. We have started it, or not, we didn't start it, but the fans started it. 1 year ago, there are now over 1,000 fans connected to the fan club. And we have a pre-listen party for them on February 12th at 4 p.m. CET. So that's 4 p.m. Amsterdam time. So if people like to join, or people like to hear the complete album or do a Q&A with us, the whole band will be there. You can talk to us, you can ask us questions, then join us or join the Martyr Militia, because the Martyr Militia on Facebook, it's a group of fans, and we will share the link to join us through Zoom on probably the day before the session, so that will be February 11th or February 12th. We will share the link so people can join and talk with us and listen with us to the whole new album. That might be a nice opportunity, and we do it for the fans, as Valcon already mentioned.
I do appreciate
important things for us. Yeah.
I do appreciate you mentioning that, and also I appreciate you sending me that link earlier today on Facebook. So I'll do my best to be a part of that. That's 10 o'clock here in New York, but that's great. That's a nice way to start the day. So I'm looking forward to that, and thank you very much again for the interview. And I hope that you enjoyed being on Metal Meltdown, and I just want to wish Martyr the best of success in the year 2022, and stay healthy out there. And I hope that all the shows you want to do, you'll be able to do, and that, as Rick Valcon said, this COVID goes away. I mean, do you remember when it first came? People would say, "Oh, it's out of here in 3 weeks." Maybe it'll take 3 years. I don't know, but just be safe out there. That's all I can tell you. That's all we can do is be safe.
Same to you and all the listeners of Metal Messiah Radio.
Yeah, let's hope we can meet face to face.
That would be great. Have you ever been in the States, by the way? Have you ever performed? Why not? After 40 years, you have never been to America?
No.
That sounds like a crime.
Not with the band, but private. I visited the States a couple of times. But with Martyr, we still need to go to America to perform for you guys. But there are plans maybe for 2023.
Yeah, let's hope once COVID's all said and done with, that maybe everything that all your cooperations with everything that you have going for you with all the management and record companies, maybe they could pull their interests together and get you over here to perform live with maybe a festival here, whether it be in Atlanta. They have that Prog Power USA thing, which is, I've never been there, but they always have these even speed metal bands, even some melodic death metal bands. It's called Prog Power, but it's not always prog and power. But it sounds like a crime that you've never been here after all the time you put into the band. I think you have fans in America that would love to see you, so let's hope that happens.
Let's hope that happens, yes.
Yes. All right, let's go crank up some more music off of a Planet Metalhead and crank it up loud. And gentlemen, thank you once again for the interview. I really appreciate your time.